Hey everybody, Brian Zayn here. It is Tuesday morning here in Wregret HQ, and I'm finally back after spending the weekend in New Jersey for Maccabia Mania 3. What an experience that was. You know, I think the Grandmasters of Wrestling DVDs that I covered a decade ago on this channel, they do have a place in wrestling history, as weird or as obscure it may be. And I think it was so cool to have an opportunity to be a part of like the newest chapter in that history. It was great to finally meet Jeff Buchanse in person and the opportunity to do commentary and to host the live stream for the show. You know, the show was a lot of fun. I had a great time, working with Ken Patera and Michael Mansky on commentary. It was kind of a chaotic feeling, kind of helping produce the stream and just kind of witnessing the show. It was definitely a show that in many ways kind of lived up to the legacy and the reputation of those earlier Maccabia Mania shows. But I think everyone did a great job in the ring. I think had a lot of fun matches and some cool crowd involvement. It was great to meet a lot of the fans there at the show. A couple of people even wore Wrestling with Regret t-shirts to the show, which was awesome. Got to meet some more awesome fans and, working with the Backseat Boys, the JCW Tag Team Champions in that Boom Boom Challenge for Colt Cabana, getting knocked around by Johnny Rods. How many people can say that they could do that in 2025? It was just a really fun show. It was a blast to be a part of, and I'm really grateful for Buchanse to allow me to be on this show. I'm glad that he was such a fan of those reviews all those years ago and how well he took them and how that eventually just kind of led to Maccabia Mania 3 happening ultimately. It was really neat to be part of that piece of history. And if you haven't watched it yet, if you didn't see the live stream or didn't catch the replay, it is up on the YouTube channel. It has been edited in some places for brevity and just kind of like clean up a couple of the more chaotic moments in the stream. But it's a show I'm really proud to have hosted, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show as well. I got to see the Mighty Maccabees final match against Crowbar. That main event, it was truly something else. But enough about that. Something else that was very important and big happened this weekend. It was the Elimination Chamber PLE from Toronto, Canada, and certainly there is a huge thing to talk about that happened at the end of this show that I and many wrestling fans are still reeling from this development. It's something that, I thought they could always do, but I never thought they actually would. But we will get to that in a little bit. If you want to just jump ahead to my thoughts on this big happening, you can go to this time code, and that's where I will be talking about the big thing that happened at the end. But I love how the show begins with the wrestler walk-ins. I love seeing Kevin Owens with his Bret Hart jacket rummaging for tools for his unsanctioned match. Then when we go to the announce team, you see Pat McAfee bitching about the Canadian fans booing the American national anthem at the top of the show, and he does this throughout the entire PLE. He's throwing little jabs in at Canada. Now, I don't want to get too political in this video because I know it generates a lot of interesting comments down below, but I will say, Pat, are you aware of what the current events are between the two countries right now? Are you aware of what our president has said in regards to wanting to make Canada a 51st state? I think that the Canadian fans have the right to protest that sort of thing through booing the national anthem, just in the same way that you have the right to complain about them protesting. But I think that they have the right to do that. I think at least they're booing over real shit and not over made up stuff like happened in 1997. I know I'm not the only one who's said this before, but I think a lot of these controversies and these hot takes and these debates could all just evaporate if you just didn't have national anthems playing at the beginning of sporting events. Just take it away. Because all you're doing is injecting the needless politics into it because some people are going to protest that song. That's just the reality of the situation. And so if you just do away with the playing of the national anthem, you will do away with a lot of those protests and all the debates and the vitriol surrounding those debates. Just do away with them. Save it for the Olympics. Save it for, championship games. Don't have them at just any old fucking pay-per-view. I don't have it at any old fucking sporting event. Just don't do it. Okay, but enough about that. You want to hear about the pay-per-view. Let's begin with the Women's Elimination Chamber matchup. matchup here. The winner of this match is going to face, at the time, Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship at Mania. Let's put a pin in that, though. The wrestlers make their entrances. You have Liv Morgan is one of the final people to come out, and she lost the world title recently to Rhea Ripley, but she and Raquel Gonzalez regained the tag titles last week. We see her walking up to Bianca in her pod. She makes a funny noise.
2024, she had nice.
So she and Bianca's tag team partner Naomi are the first two to start out. But before the match really gets underway, suddenly Jade Cargill returns. The first time we'd seen her in months since she was laid out and thrown through the car and written off TV for an injury. She comes back and she starts storming the ring. Liv Morgan, who's been accused of attacking Jade, she's getting really nervous, but psych, Jade actually beats the brakes off of Naomi here, just beating the hell out of her, slamming the chamber door into her ribs and everything. And Bianca is stuck in the pod, going absolutely nuts, very emotional as Jade continues the beating. Could she have been the one, she being Naomi, to attack Jade and write her off? That does seem to be what is heavily implied here, and if that is where they're going with the story, I think that's kind of a smart way to do it. Like, ooh, Naomi has a motive to take, Jade out and insert herself as a tag team partner and a champion, and now Bianca's kind of caught in the middle of this. So we'll see where this all plays out, but I thought that was a very cool way to bring Jade back, to further that storyline and leave you wondering, like, well, is this actually the resolution, or maybe there's something more to it? But anyway, Naomi is eliminated by default. I love the new noise they have for the pod opening, where it used to be the beep, boop, beep, boop, boop, beep with the lights, and now it's like you hear the beginning of Eye to Eye from a Goofy movie.
I'm beside myself. What a start to this match.
So Bianca Belair comes out next. She's very sad, but has to get down to business. Nice stuff with her and Liv in this match. Roxanne Perez out next, and she comes out guns blazing. Bayley is next, brawling with Roxanne in her own pod. A lot of great intensity by everyone so far in this. There's really too much to call. Alexa Bliss is the last to enter the match. Big response, big pop when she makes her way out of the pod, and she's on fire for a bit. I love when Perez gets the crossface on Bayley, and Bayley has to escape, not with the rope break, but just rolling through under the ropes and going up to like the chain wall and like grinding Roxanne's hand in the end of it to try and break the hold. And Roxanne has got a lot of fire in this too. At one point she yells at Bayley and says, "You were never my role model." I love this sequence here. Bayley dumps Roxanne over the ropes, hard landing, but then Liv hits Oblivion out of nowhere to eliminate Bayley. That was cool. Bianca and Liv fighting atop the pod. Bianca with a hair whip, very loud, and look at that abrasion that Liv would get in her midsection after that whip. The Pop Rocks is blocked. Roxanne walks right into a code breaker, falls down, and takes a twisted Bliss to be eliminated. Bliss hits Sister Abby on Bianca, but is immediately rolled up by Liv, and now Bliss is gone. Liv dragging Bianca by her hair and like throwing her into the chain wall repeatedly, and she's just bouncing back and forth between the ropes and the wall, which looked really cool and like funny at first. And then I'm like, wait a minute, why can't Bianca just like grab onto the rope to stop the bouncing? She could have easily, her hands are on the ropes as she's doing it. Just hook your arm and you won't keep hitting the wall. Belair shows the power here. She swings Liv into the pod glass, into the chain walls, then power bombs her into the ring. Holy balls. The 450 is blocked. The KOD is countered. The Oblivion is blocked. Bianca connects with the KOD and wins this chamber match. Then we get a nice face-off with her, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky up on the stage. I give it 4 stars out of 5. This was a great match. I think it was the best women's chamber match they've had in many years. Really great way to bring Jade Cargill back and add this extra layer of storytelling and intrigue to the chamber match itself. And, as of this recording, Raw has happened, and they had the match with Io and Rhea over the championship. Io Sky won the match and the title. So as of right now, it feels like it's going to be Bianca versus Io, but I wouldn't be surprised if Rhea Ripley is put into that as a triple threat. That would also be a great match. But yeah, this was a lot of intensity in the match. Everyone looked great and had chances to shine, and I thought they used the chamber pretty well. And yeah, it was just a really great way to open the show. Up next, Team T-Strat, that is Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus, take on the former WWE Women's Champ Nia Jax and her current good friend du jour, Candice LeRae. I love how, Tiffany out-heeled the heel by, outsmarting Nia Jax, beating her for the championship with Money in the Bank, and she comes out the other side as a babyface, despite not really changing anything about her personality in that recent time at all. So the only reason I think she's being cheered is because she's not Nia Jax. And also people I think would want to see her succeed for a while. So she kind of became babyface by default through this. We know she's going against Charlotte at WrestleMania. I'm of two minds about that. I think, she's either going to go through the wood chipper and Charlotte's going to win and get her heat back or whatever, or this could be a nice moment for Charlotte to give back and let Tiffany win that. But that's a story for Mania conversations. Trish wearing the Maple Leafs / Blue Jays inspired gimmick in her hometown of Toronto. Big ovation for the Hall of Famer. Nia yoinks Trish off the apron early on. Tiffany dives onto her from the apron. Tiffany takes a lot of heat here. Nia teases going for the big sit, but Stratton avoids it. We get the hot tag to Trish and a nice twisting DDT. And then this is one of those matches where there's the hot tag, then the next person, in this case, Trish, takes all the heat here. And at one point, Nia, I didn't hear what she said. Something or other sucks a fat one, is what she said. And I think she also started a USA chant, which Pat McAfee was very happy about. Nia holding Trish by her legs and throwing her head first into the turnbuckle. I loved that. Stratton finally gets a hot tag of her own. Big power move run. We get a scary fall for Tiffany when she's knocked off the top rope. Then Trish with a super Stratusfaction off the top. My word. Candice kind of misses her cue to break it up with the Acai moonsault, but still very impressive. Tiffany hits the prettiest moonsault ever on Nia for the win. I give it 3.5 stars out of 5. This was a fine tag team match. I thought that Trish looked very impressive. She's very part-time, very rare for her to get in the ring anymore. I think that this was a great showing for her, and so she still has it. And I think she and Tiffany worked well together. And I think that, Candice LeRae had some time to shine as well. And Nia, I think being that kind of, the monster to overcome, the big hill to climb, and for Tiffany to have gotten a clean win over her in the matchup, I thought was very impressive, makes her look stronger going into Mania. Travis Scott is here. That's right, Travis Scott is here. And wow, look how great and successful The Rock is as part of the TKO board of directors. All of this could be Cody's if he sells his soul. And now it's time for the unsanctioned match, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Yes, it is a match that WWE cannot legally endorse, but they will promote it on their show and give it time on the card, in the middle of the card no less, and they're going to give it a full entrances and lights and all that stuff. Yeah, we've heard this before, but it still holds true. When they have unsanctioned matches, it's just another fancy way of saying no holds barred. And that's what this was. I love the story that Sami and Kevin have built for themselves over the last couple of decades. And, anytime they need to, they can go back to this. And I think it just works. I love KO's, justification for being a baddie and attacking Sami in particular. The fact that Sami is trying to help Roman out, but doesn't do the same thing for Kevin in his war with Cody Rhodes. And so I love the justified heel. I think it works really well. And it makes, that when they're so convinced about it, and they do have a point that you yourself can kind of empathize with that heel. And I think this is, again, a great story being told, and the whole idea of Sami's neck being hurt. He has to fight him, though, and it leads to this. It's great stuff. Cole name drops El Generico and Kevin Steen during the entrances. They did the thing. We do get dramatic lighting for this unsanctioned match. It does feel kind of raw underground vibes when they do that. A lot of "we want tables" chants just in the very opening moments of this. Very full-throated demands for tables by the Toronto crowd. They don't give it to him just yet here, but we do see a lot of chairs. Sami's actually the first one to grab some chairs, but Kevin's the first to use one. He ends up hitting himself, and now it's Sami's turn. Sami grabs a hockey stick, gets a lovely pop in Canada. We get the table pulled out for the first time, which gets a huge pop. Kevin fights back, starts to bite Sami's face. He also takes another table and stacks it atop the previously set up table. It's Chekhov's double table stack. They fight their way through the crowd, and they're using a trash can and everything. Sami sending Kevin through a couple of catering tables. Not the snacks, not the water bottles. KO KO uses the ring bell on Zayn. I always am a bit disappointed when the bell is used as a weapon in wrestling, and I always expect it to have that ding sound effect like in No Mercy. So they fight their way to the top rope. Sami gets peeled off and splats those two tables. KO with a brainbuster on an open chair, but Sami kicks out. Sami comes back. He suplexes KO onto the same chair, but the referee's head is knocked off with a haluva kick. In comes Charles Robinson. He's laid out. We get another table set up. They go up top. KO hits the Fisherman Buster through the table. Somehow, Sami kicks out. I'm loving how this is progressing. Every subsequent big-ass bump, big-ass spot happening in the ring, there's a kick-outs, and Cole is just getting so exasperated for both of them, because each time it seems like when they could win, it's like the person kicks out. It's the point where like Cole's just getting, oh, come on, Kevin, like don't doubt, why are you doing this? I love the camera angle they used for this moment where KO shouts in Sami's face, it's all your fault, but he takes a haluva kick. Sami gets out the chair wrapped in barbed wire. The thwacking begins. We even get like a drop toe hold face first into the chair. How is there not blood from that? And then things get really dark where Kevin grabs another chair and does the spot where he puts it around like Sami's neck and throws him into the ring post. And he does it a couple of times, and like there's this hush over the crowd because, oh my God, it's so violent. And then it just cuts to this close-up of this fan looking kind of gobsmacked, and all the fans laugh because it's a funny face. It's like, oh, you kind of broken the illusion. You kind of killed the moment there when you did that.
None of this is worth it.
Owens hitting multiple power bombs on the apron as the producers keep filing out to try and stop the carnage, stop the insanity. Cole calls him a sick bastard. Finally, he rolls Sami into the ring after like the second or third apron power bomb to cover and win. And it was just, man, what a violent affair. Surprisingly bloodless, especially after the barbed wire. But Kevin is not done. He goes to peel back some of the padding on the floor, and he's going to pile drive Sami and really put this guy out of wrestling. Suddenly, Randy Orton's music plays, and for the first time in months, he returns. He was pile-driven months ago and is finally back. They start swinging. R hits his KO onto KO. He grabs a chair and he thinks about it, throws it away. He wants to go for the killer punch, but everyone gets in between them, and Kevin escapes. But Orton hits the RKO on all those indie wrestlers in security. Everyone's rates just went up. This one gets 4.5 stars out of 5 for me. What beautiful, glorious violence Kevin and Sami did to each other here. It was just such a dramatic, well-done matchup. Like I said, these guys can bust matches out like this at any old time, and it's always going to keep me hooked and keep me captivated. The fight that both guys had, the amount of hope that Sami got in this matchup, even when things were looking downright pitiful for him. Really, really neat stuff here. And so I was very pleased with that matchup. And then you get the return of Randy Orton here to kind of break up the further carnage. I think I have a feeling of where these guys are going to go, Kevin and Randy at least, for WrestleMania. I think this was, just a very well done match and a great additional chapter in the lengthy rivalry between, Owens and Zayn. Main event time, it's the men's Elimination Chamber matchup. I liked the hype package they did for this one and how, the overarching theme was the 7 deadly sins. And aside from lust, which was kind of like assigned to all of them, each of the wrestlers got like one specific sin. Like Logan Paul categorized as sloth, though. I mean, I don't really get that. I also like a bit of foreshadowing in this one because it shows a clip of John Cena in the press conference at the Rumble back in February, and he says, it's what's best for business. Oh boy! The first two wrestling in the chamber are Drew McIntyre and Seth F. Rollins. Seth's shoulders looking especially spiky on this night. Drew beats down Seth for the first couple of minutes, then we get Damian Priest out next. Priest throwing Rollins into McIntyre with the razor's edge, and then Drew powerbombing Seth into Priest. Damn it, stop using the poor guy as a projectile. Logan Paul emerges from his pod next. He gets the crap beat out of him by Priest for the next couple of minutes, and the fans are loving that. There's even a fuck you Logan chant that they have to censor as this match goes on here. John Cena is the next man out. He's hitting all his big moves. AA's aplenty. Drew hitting the Claymore on Cena, but Priest grabs him and rolls him up for the elimination, which is pretty surprising because Drew kept his eye off the ball. And then right after that announcement, Michael Cole goes into this very lengthy explanation as to why Drew is mad about this and why this particular finish is important. Like, where's open the hanger because here comes the spoon to feed you. ya. Drew throwing a tantrum and hits Priest with a Claymore before he leaves. Logan with the frog splash to Priest. He is out. CM Punk is the last man in. He's a house of fire on Logan Paul. Then we get the face-off with he and Cena. I loved that reaction for them. Seth wants Punk all for himself. They get some yay boos. Logan Paul gets involved again, but he takes the GTS and gets eliminated. We're down to Punk, Cena, and Rollins. They say there's 26 world titles between them. That's a lot. Cena and Punk hug it out before they throw hands. Cena locks in the STF, but Punk counters into the Anaconda Vice. Cena even catching Punk and hits the AA. We get another kick out. Seth ends up taking the GTS and an attitude adjustment to finally get eliminated. It's down to Punk and Cena. They shake hands again for some reason. We get a GTS and a kick out, an AA and a kick out. In a dramatic moment at the end, Seth, who is still in the chamber but kind of obscured by the camera angles, like he gets a stomp on Punk from out of nowhere, and then that allows Cena to capitalize, get the STF locked in on Punk, and he passes out, so the referee calls it, and Cena wins the matchup here. He is going to face Cody Rhodes for the championship at WrestleMania. I loved this chamber match. I think it was very star-studded. I liked the drama at the end. My one nitpick with this matchup, I think that having two moments of the eliminated person gets like their finisher off on somebody and that causes them to get eliminated. Doing that twice in one chamber match I think is a bit redundant, or it kind of minimizes the impact of both of them. With Drew hitting the Claymore on Priest, and then you've got Seth stomping CM Punk near the end. I think that one especially took some of the edge and the oomph away from Drew's moment there. And obviously both of those are going to set up something for their matches at WrestleMania. So, but be that as it may, I liked the callbacks. I liked the way they wove in a couple of different feuds and programs into this one chamber matchup. And it was, really cool to see Cena get that big win. But boy, we are not done with this night yet, because you've got the champion Cody Rhodes showing up. We get the face-off. Cena's fired up. Gee golly for WrestleMania. Then suddenly we hear The Rock's opening line. Then Travis Scott is here. Yes, Travis Scott is here. Then The Rock appears. So the big story from this past week was The Rock showing up and, in a very roundabout way, telling Cody Rhodes that he wanted his soul. He wanted Cody to sell out and join The Rock and be the corporate champion, essentially. And so what's Cody going to do here? What is his decision going to be? The Rock says, Cody, you will embrace me and I will embrace you as my champion. I want your mind. I want your soul. I need your soul. The American nightmare will live forever. If your answer is no, then tonight the dream dies again. Cody says, I want it all, Rock, but my soul, I can't give my soul to you because I already gave it to this business and these people. And finally, Cody, he says, Rock, go fuck yourself, which gets a huge pop. And I do like this one line from Pat McAfee where he says, that's got to be one of the most shocking things in the history of saying things, which is just a brilliant line. So Cena then hugs Cody, then he makes heel face. Then The Rock does this weird throat slit thing. Like, seriously, does he think this is how you do it? Like under the chin, but like he does the two thing. So what's the significance of that? Because he did the 3 at Bad Blood, and now he does the 2 fingers here. What is this symbolic, King? But anyway, John Cena, he takes Cody to Dick Kick City. He grabs Cody's Rolex watch and he decks him with it. We get a mic shot, a belt shot, Cena holding the belt up as Rock and Travis Scott look on proudly, and he's choking him out with the necktie. As Cole says, he's really gonna stoop to this shit. They're really going hard on this one. They're dropping all the swears in this final segment as the beating continues, and Rock whips Cody with the Soul weight belt, and that's how the show ends, as Cena and Rock and Travis Scott, for some reason, leaving together, and Cody is a bloody heap at the end of the night. Like, wow, they did it. Like a lot of people speculated that this might happen at the show. And I thought, sure, that is plausible, but I never really thought that WWE and John Cena were going to go through with it and turn Cena heel. I think I think that Cena could have easily spent this last year just coasting and being, oh, golly gee, babyface Cena for the rest of his run. And I don't think anyone would have faulted him for that, for taking the easy route. But I really respect Cena and WWE for stepping outside of that comfort zone and doing something that people never thought would happen. A lot of folks are comparing this to Hulk Hogan at Bash at the Beach 96, and I will certainly agree that it is the biggest heel turn since then. I don't think it's bigger. I think Hogan's heel turn is still a much bigger deal, especially when you look at the context and the bigger picture of where wrestling was at that time and where Hogan was in his career. I think fans were more surprised that Hulk Hogan turned heel. Obviously, there was shock when Cena did this, but I think it's also something that fans have wanted for a very long time. And the way that that was received, I think was very different to when Hogan turned heel. People got mad when Hogan turned heel. But when Cena turns heel, a lot of people are applauding it and saying, yes, this is incredible. And I think it is for a lot of reasons. The novelty of it. The first time since before he put on the the white rapper gimmick, that he's been a heel. So it's a long time coming. And I think, people did want to see this change in his character. And I think there's so many ways you can spend the next 10 months with heel John Cena, aligning himself with The Rock, this like two-headed monster, this like Hollywood power tandem working together to take the belt from Cody Rhodes. I think that's pretty brilliant. And, Cena, he's got a shot to, become the 17-time champion at WrestleMania and, tell that story of Cody coming back to possibly regain it. Again, thinking very far ahead here, but I think it's really, at this point, there's really kind of a no-lose situation with Cena and Cody at Mania, unless they impossibly screw it up somehow. Or God forbid there's injury. But I think that, the way they've got it set up right now, heel John Cena, I still have a weird time articulating that and saying that. It's just shocking to me. I think that, Cena deserves credit right now for kind of doing that, kind of breaking away, getting out of that comfort zone. I'm very curious to see where it goes from here for these remaining 10 months of his run, his final year, whether he wins the title at Mania and holds on to it till the very end, or, or whatever happens. There's so many different ways you can take it. Heel John Cena opens up a whole range of different opponents he could fight for the next 10 months and just make it interesting. When's the last time John Cena was genuinely interesting to follow as a competitor? I think this is going to be a very, very wild ride in 2025. And, we're still wondering what the 3 and the 2 mean for The Rock, but it all seems to be kind of coming together. I am definitely excited to see how this plays out, but what a moment, what a way to close out the show. Truly something that it's the kind of storyline twist that can make a pay-per-view live forever, Bash at the Beach 96, what do you remember from that besides Hulk Hogan doing the heel turn? Same thing with Elimination Chamber. You have great matches on this show, but now you have this moment on top of it that I think really puts it over the top. So with that in mind, my grade for Elimination Chamber 2025 is an A. For, a 4-match show across, 3.5 hours or whatever, this is a bang-up job at pay-per-view. All the matches were great, and then you have this, in those matches you have great storyline beats. You have Jade Cargill's return, you have Randy Orton's return, and now you've got John Cena entering this brave new world. And it was this wildly successful moment in that it's gotten everyone talking about it. I don't get the Travis Scott thing, other than the fact that, hey, we want some kind of celebrity in the background to add to the gravitas. But you even have Jon Stewart of The Daily Show, talking about it and making a comparison from what happened, in current events to this heel turn and how John Cena is America and Cody Rhodes is Zelensky and The Rock is Putin. And it's all very, it's crazy just how big this moment truly is for wrestling. Like I said, it is the biggest heel turn since Hulk Hogan. I am not going to dispute that. And I think it's one of the biggest just like shocking moments. When you think about what shocking moments are left in WWE, that's pretty much one of the biggest ones that's left, I think. And so for them to pull the trigger on that, it takes guts. And it takes a lot of patience to see it through. So, they have my attention. And I think this was a really smart way to really send WrestleMania build into overdrive. But what did you think of the Elimination Chamber, and what was your reaction to John Cena's long-awaited heel turn in the eyes of many? I want to hear about it in the comment section below. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret, and hit that bell icon for all the notifications. I'm Brian Zayn, and I'll see you next time.